What's up, you guys? It's Malik Rogers with King Lecrae Official, and I'm back with you guys with another video on books. And these are going to be books if you are a teenager or if you're looking to get into books that may have a film with it to keep you interested like I did. These are the books for you. So with that being said, the first book up on the docket is Everything is Everything by Nicola Yoon. This book I just recently finished watching at the crisp of this year, and it was an amazing book. It just talked about a girl who was, allergic to going outside. She meets a boy that moves next door, and she starts to feel like, okay, what if I'm not sick? I've never seen these diagnoses. My mom has just always told me. I know I lost my brother and my dad when I was a kid or a little baby. I know I was sick as a baby, but what if I can go outside? So this book right here will be really good for you. You can pick it up at any store, Barnes & Noble. I haven't seen it at a Walmart, but definitely Target. Any bookstore near you, you can definitely find it, and you'll be excited because as good as the book, honestly. From the movie in it, as you can see different things in it and all that type of stuff. So I love books like that. It keeps me interested. So next up on the agenda is the very first chapter book I had ever finished, which was Love, Simon. Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. This book right here has a film along with it that came out back in, I think, 2018. And this book also was like $10.99. And I would go to Barnes & Noble every day. I was living up in East Atlanta. I would go to sit at Starbucks and Barnes & Noble and just read and read until I finally finished it. And it was a challenge because, honestly, like I said at the beginning of the video, I didn't read books like that when I was little. So the book is about a boy who is gay, or he's realized or coming to realize that, he is gay. And what he does is he's in high school, and there's somebody else in like this big group chat that the whole school's a part of. Talk real high school, right? So Simon meets somebody and they begin talking on email, but he doesn't know who he is. So throughout the movie, he's trying to figure out, okay, who is this mystery boy? Who is it? So he goes throughout these different people and realizes, okay, it can't be him. It can't be him. It can't be him. Until at the very end on the Ferris wheel, the boy who it really is shows up. And I can't tell you guys that. You'll have to read the book and see the movie to figure out about that. So next up on the agenda is the book Boy Erased. This book right here is by, it's a memoir of identity, faith, and family. It's a book by Gerard Conley. It was definitely a hard book for me to read because it was around the same time that I had come to realize who I was. And of course, it does have a film along with it. And there's an amazing soundtrack with it as well. Troye Sivan, which is one of my top influencers, he has a song called Revelation on the album, and it's just amazing. It's amazing. So Gerard, he was outed. Unfortunately, you'll have to see the movie and read the book on how he was outed, but it was a horrible way that he was outed to his family, and his family was very religious, and I can definitely I can side with that. His family was very religious, and they decided to put him inside of a concentration camp. And concentration camps are very real. They do exist here in the United States. And while he was in this concentration camp, he was getting mistreated. He was getting abused mentally, and he was getting abused emotionally. And it's just a wild journey. It's a wild journey on him just realizing who he was and just feeling like he was just a part of a big game, a part of there's a scene in the movie where he says to a friend of his that he feels like he's like a part of just a big battle between God and Satan. It's an experiment. Which side is he gonna choose? When all of actuality, you are revelation. So this book is very good if you're if you are coming to realize that you are homosexual, then definitely this book is definitely something that you can definitely read and get a lot of advice from and everything. It's a book called Becoming Nicole. Now, this book right here is by Amy Ellis Nutt. This book does not have a film with it. It was actually the first book I ever had read that did not have a film along with it. This is a real story as well. It's about a couple named Wayne and Kelly. They adopt two identical boys while they were babies, and at the age of 3, one of the brothers, one of the little boys came up to his dad and said, "Okay, why do I have a penis?" So it's just a book about, his name is Wyatt. It's just a book about how Wyatt came to realize that, psychologically, from a psychological standpoint, he knew that he was the other gender. So instead of them having the intersex surgery while he was so young, they decided, okay, you know what I want to do is let's just wait until he becomes of age, until he's able to make that decision for himself. But we will go ahead and start him on hormones because he definitely wanted to wear girls' clothes. And I definitely understood this story a lot because I know that my influencers like Prince and Michael Jackson, they're in touch with their feminine, or they were in touch with their feminine energy. Definitely understood this book, and it gives you not only a spiritual perspective of everything, it gives you a scientific aspect on everything as well. So you can definitely understand, went through different things in this book. So, like I say, in the book, there's different pictures, and the father, it took him a while to come. That's her father. It took a while for her to come. It took a while for him to come to accustom with it. He didn't really accept it. It wasn't until she got up in age, his acceptance, and he understood her, fully and totally, all that. So I read that book like last year around this time, and I finished it. So the next book I want to bring up is probably one of my favorites. Now this movie is also by Nicola Yoon. She's an African American author, and this book right here was very good. It talked about possibility. I took a lot of things from it, even though it is a fiction story. I took a lot from it because it talks about just possibility and how you just let fate and destiny guide you, and you'll be pretty much okay. Yeah, it may lead you down a rocky, weird road, but as long as you're doing what you feel is right at that moment, then you're good. So this story is about a girl named Natasha and a boy named Daniel. Natasha is looking to be deported because of a mistake her father made. Her father brought them over here to the U.S. visitation, off of a visitation. They stayed. They wasn't supposed to stay, so they started getting these fake Social Security cards until her dad was pulled over and was charged with a DUI, and they found out what was going on. The dad put in for them to be removed voluntarily. They were gonna, voluntarily leave, so they wouldn't have a deportation on their name. They went ahead and they were gonna leave. So this whole book is based off of one day. So with that one day, she decides, okay, I'm gonna try to fight this. I'm gonna try to fight what my father did wrong. I don't want to leave. My family is here, but she was like, this is our home, so I don't want to leave. So in the midst of her trying to get it worked out and everything, Daniel, on the other hand, he's Korean. He's going about his day and everything, and so their stories start to collide, and they end up, meeting by fate. It was by destiny that they met. He was trying to explain to her, okay, it was destiny. I'm going to make you fall in love with me in one day, and I'll give you an hour. So they start going on these different little adventures in the city of New York, very busy. And they end up starting to like him and everything, but at the same time, she's trying not to go off of what she knows. She knows that, okay, there's no such thing as love. There's no such thing as fate. There's no such thing as all of that stuff, There's no such thing. So the book was amazing. I'm not going to tell how it ended, but you'll definitely have to watch it and read it to see. And there's definitely also, like I was saying earlier, the books are always better than the movie. I will say that. The film always seems a little rushed. The book is amazing. So I'm going to do Call Me By Your Name. Now, this book right here, it has a different cover, but it's the same Call Me As Your Name by Andre Aciman. And it has a film with it. and it is a gay love story. So it's about a boy named Elio and Oliver. Oliver is like 24. Elio is, I think, 18. Or no, he's finna turn, he's 17. And Oliver comes, they don't live, they live in Rome or something like that. It's not based here in America. It's a French type movie. Um, Oliver uh, comes because his dad is an archaeologist, if I'm not mistaken, and he studies philosophy and all that stuff. He's a very wise man, one of the greatest characters, or one of the greatest fathers I've ever seen in a story. Just for his speech and everything. Anybody that's read the book and seen the movie, his speech was everything. Start to fall in love with each other. They start to fall in love with each other. They become good friends. They become intimate and everything. Then Oliver, of course, has to leave. And there's a lot of emotion in this book. It took me a while to read it because at the time I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and stuff, working 2 jobs. So it took me a good minute to read it. And this book only had 240 pages, and it took me a while to read it because the language in it also, the context was like, oh my gosh. But it was definitely worth the read and worth the movie because I bought the movie on iTunes, so I own the movie. So next on the agenda is Find Me. Now this is also by Andre Acumen. This book right here, a lot of people were saying, I was reading up on it before I bought it. It is the second part or the sequel to Call Me by Your Name. But this really is it's broken up into 3 or 4 sections. It's about his father at the beginning. His father is coming to see Elio. It's like 10 years later. So both of them is grown men. They both have their families. Well, actually, Elio is still single, but he's had relationships over the course of time. But this book right here, I definitely didn't find it a waste of money. It was actually supposed to be $26, but I got it for 50% off, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, this is a very good one as well. The context in it and the vocabulary is a little advanced at times, just like Call Me by Your Name. But I really enjoyed this book too. Um, like I say, it's broken up into 4 different parts. And the good thing is, at the end, it doesn't end like, I'm just going to say this. This one does not have a film to it. But this book does not end like this book. This book, they don't end up being together. But this book here, this book is the book I am in the middle of now. It is the 3rd part to All the Boys I Loved Before. I want to get a little head start because I just finished watching P.S. I Still Love You. And that was the 2nd part on Netflix. And with that being said, I definitely want to get a look at what's going to happen before the movie comes out next year. So this book only cost me $10.99, just like most of these books over here. And it is Lara Jean, and she's about to go off to college. Everybody's about to go off to college. Her father is about to get married to Mrs. Rothschild. It's a lot going on in this book. She's trying to get into the college that she wants to get into. I'm not going to tell you too much because I definitely, again, don't believe in spoilers. So, I'm almost done with it. I'm in chapter 22. And it's a total of like 36 chapters. So, like I say, this book right here is the 3rd and final part to the series. It's the conclusion. So, like I say, definitely all bookstores have these books out on tables now since the 2nd part just came out last month. They're there. So, with that being said, I'm also in the middle of this book right here. It's the 2nd part. I know I may be late, but it's okay because that's the reason they're books. I still need to read all the Harry Potter books. I still need to read all of the Twilight books. And I just got done watching Lock and Key on Netflix, and I heard that is a lot different than the comics, so I may get into that as well. But like I say, those are books that you guys can definitely go out and pick up. And like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. And whatever type of videos you guys want me to do, definitely let me know and everything, and I will try to do it. Since this coronavirus is out, people are being quarantined. So I've started my quarantine a few days ago. So I'm gonna be doing videos. So, all right.